Okay, hi everybody, I'm back for another cooking video. Today we're going to make lasagna. I am trying to figure out this whole camera situation, so if you're a little crooked, I'm sorry. I don't have any makeup on today because this eye has been like so itchy for like the past 3 days and I can't stop rubbing it. I think my eyeball got sunburned over the weekend, so I'm just going to show you my dinner haul from Walmart. Lasagna. I don't make homemade tomato sauce. I use canned. My parents always used Hunt's, so we use Hunt's. Paste. I use market side organic grass-fed beef, or usually like butchered beef, but I've eaten all of my butchered ground beef. Parmesan. This delicious looking like little mozzarella ball, and ricotta cheese. Ricotta cheese, my favorite for lasagna. So it's like a 3 cheese lasagna. I'm also having a cooking dinner snack, just cheese, meat, and crackers, because I neglect myself and I never eat lunch. Can't have lasagna without bread. I got this gigantic pack of chicken because we're gonna have chicken for 2 dinners in a row this week. I'm doing like crock pot lemon chicken that we serve over rice. It's delicious. I have thyme for that. My lemons are here. I had a lot of ingredients for that one, so I don't really need to shop a whole lot for that. Heavy cream for that one. And then my second dinner is going to be chicken, stuffed chicken jalapeno poppers. So I use jalapenos, cream cheese, a little bit of bacon bits, and I like either cut the chicken or I might slice the chicken in half, like butterfly it, tenderize it a little bit so it's nice and flat, and like put it in there and then fold it over. I think I'm gonna do that. And for that I have green beans and black beans for the sides. That's my dinner haul. Let me put these refrigerated things away so they don't go bad. I just saw that I had bought a roast, and I completely forgot about it. So I can make that over the weekend. I probably meant to make that yesterday, and I completely forgot about it. Okay, the rest of these things can just hang out for now. Okay, so we're going to make lasagna. Although the angle last time wasn't ideal for my face, it was really great for cooking. So I might just do that again. I do need to do my dishes, but there's just not enough time in the day. So this is one of those days where all of the kids have activities. Everybody needs to go here, 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 here. So usually on those nights it's a little bit easier just to pick up food, but I don't want to do that. So it's 3:40 and I'm going to start dinner so that way it could be cooked, baked, and ready to be eaten, because we're probably all going to eat at staggered times, but at least everybody's going to eat a home cooked meal. That's all that matters. First things first, I'm going to put my cheeses aside for right now because we don't really need those just yet. Let me try to figure out my camera angle here. For cooking purposes, actually, maybe, and then maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, everything's not as clean as it was on the last video, and for that, please don't judge me. We're just out here living our lives. The doorbell just rang. Give me a second. Okay, so the doorbell just rang, and it was the Amazon delivery person bringing me my stickers for my planner. These are my favorite planner stickers because they're so cute. Like, look, January, February is so cute. But it's for my, I like a physical planner. I write things out. Everybody in my family is color coded. It's always a disaster, but it works and keeps me like organized, even just writing it out. And I just like, I need to do a better job of looking at my planner, but it does help. So I always use the biggest pot in the world for the noodles because I want them like not to break. We are kind of like on a struggle bus right now because this other front burner, which is our other big burner, stopped working like really randomly. So we're gonna get started on the sauce and the meat. So I do the meat and then I just do the sauce in the same pan. I told you we do a lot of cast iron cooking in our house, so this is another thing that I like will do. I'm gonna have to clean right away because my husband tells me that tomato sauce is really bad for cast irons. Do I clean it? No. Let me get this out of here. I'm gonna put a tiny bit of salt in my noodle water. And then what I usually do is like make myself a little mini trash bag out of my like Walmart bags. And I just have a little mini trash bag on the counter like while I'm cooking. Just so that way I don't have to like go back and forth 10,000 times. Okay, garlic powder, check. Italian seasoning, check. And so usually like a big family secret to like really good spaghetti sauce is a little tiny dash of red chili, but I kind of refrain from using that right now because I'm also feeding a 3-year-old. And if she won't eat it if it's spicy, and she already has been a little mistrusting of red sauce since birth. But sometimes she'll eat it if like, especially if it's in like a lasagna form, but she doesn't like spaghetti, doesn't like I was gonna say SpaghettiOs, but I don't think I've ever tried to give her SpaghettiOs. But like red sauce, not a fan of. Loves pizza. Sometimes we'll eat lasagna. Let's see how tonight goes. But she's just kind of a brat. So no red chili, even though I would also put red chili in my lasagna sauce just because it's delicious. And it doesn't need to be a lot, like we're not trying to kill somebody, but it just really brings out a really nice flavor. And it's balanced really well with like the cheeses and everything else. But again, not hot enough to kill somebody, but flavorful. I would do like just a tiny little dash of red chili, but not today. And so I use ground meat for my lasagna. My husband, though, he prefers Italian sausage, but my kids don't really like Italian sausage, so then it turns into like a big fight, and I want them to like eat good. So tomorrow, my oldest daughter Emily has a track meet. My second born daughter Aspen has track practice today. Emily's at track practice right now, and then Emily has an appointment at 6, and Aspen's track practice at 5:30, and they both need to be picked up at 7, and they're both like across the city, so that's gonna be fun. I'm suffering from, like I said, a sunburn, maybe a sunburned eyeball. The crack on my head, that's what I call it, my crack got burned, and the back of my neck, so bad, hurts so bad. I am primarily an indoor person, so especially like indoor controlled for myself. Like I'm not an outdoor person. I was gonna see if I could like zoom out, but I can't. So when I am outdoors and it's in an environment that I'm not able to like control or I'm not like prepared for, it kind of freaks me out. And so I got sunburned, but I was trying to like cover the little kids, my 3-year-old and my baby, from getting sunburned, so I'll just take the burn. But it sucks to have a sunburn. Okay, garlic powder. And then that's something like these seasonings, like I'll put a little to cook into the meat, and then I'll put the sauce in, and then I'll add more seasonings, and then I just like taste as I go too. Oops, see, this has never been used. Brand new. I didn't want you guys to see me bite that, but I did, so. Usually I poke this with a knife. I really hope that little tiny burner cooks the meat like kind of fast, because so lasagna needs to like bake so the layers can set for about like 30 minutes at a minimum, and it still kind of falls apart, but like an hour would be ideal. So I would like to bake it for like 45 minutes to an hour, which is why we're cooking at 3:40 in the afternoon. Okay, that is cooking. Some fresh cracked pepper. Like swap the burners over, because I will have like the sauce kind of like simmer for a while. Okay, so I've never used these big cans, so I'm gonna start with 1 can and some paste and see how that goes. So okay, you guys, my battery died. Rookie mistake. So ground beef is nice and cooked. And I will notice, I don't know if it's like the brand of meat that I get, or I'm trying to like squat down, or if it's the cooking in a cast iron, but I've noticed since I started cooking in cast irons, I don't really have like a big pool of grease when I cook meat anymore, the way that I used to when I cooked in like Teflon pans or whatever. So I don't know if the cast iron like soaks up the grease, or if the meat I'm getting just isn't as greasy. But if there's not as much grease in there, I'm gonna turn it down a little. I'm gonna start adding my tomato sauce. So and so like my mom has always put paste and sauce together. I don't know if I should have used that whole thing of paste, but we're doing just fine. And so I am actually going to put the second can because I want this not to be like as thick, and I also want like more sauce. So the paste probably worked against me, but I like the flavor that it has, and I do like the concentration of the tomatoes. And I can always add water to it and reduce it a little bit and get the right consistency for my lasagna. So second one going in, and the meat like just soaks up all of the tomato sauce too. So now I need to season this a little bit more. So I love making lasagna. It's one of my favorite meals to cook. So we definitely want like a ton of this Italian seasoning. I'm going to just put it in my hand so that way I don't overdo it, but I am probably going to use like all of that. Maybe, and then some. Yeah, a little bit more. And I might still add even more than that. So, but that's a good starting place. I'm gonna add like the tiniest little bit of salt to this. I'm gonna salt my hand first because I don't want to overdo this, and so I'm just gonna put a tiny little bit of salt. Throw the rest of that away. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys the top of this without unplugging my camera or getting tomato sauce on it. So that's kind of how it looks before I mix it up. Let's see if I didn't mess up my angle here. It's a little questionable angle. Okay. I'm gonna put that as low as it'll go, but the cast iron's still hot from cooking the meat, so. Okay, now, I'm gonna try to stir everything up really, really good. I'm gonna taste this. We might have gotten it actually like pretty good in one go. I don't know that you could like over season that. I'm sure you could if you tried hard enough, but really you don't want it to just taste like you're eating tomato sauce out of a jar, which is where like the salt, the pepper, the garlic salt like makes such a big difference. And I do love Italian seasoning. I'm gonna put a little bit more than that in there. But as that cooks in, like all the flavors really come out, and like there's no, I just dropped that on the floor. Well, I don't really use it anyway. There's just no salt in this. It's all just herbs, and so I don't think they could hurt what we have going on here. So my noodle water is not yet boiling, so I might swap these over so this can just kind of cook and soak up all of the flavor. And this big burner here can help. Yeah, that's good. We're just gonna swap them. So put that on low. My kitchen's a mess right now. Sorry, guys. Put that on. Oops, not off. We're gonna put that on high and put that over there. Okay. So now those are swapped. We're ready to put in the noodles. Let me get my little glass baking dish. I always just give everything a little quick rinse out. Because everything's clean when you put it away, but then I feel like if it sits in a cabinet, it could be like full of dust or something. I don't know. It's just always in my head, like baking sheets, cutting boards, these dishes. If they like lay down flat, they could get like dust on them. So I always rinse them out, and then I get a paper towel and wipe it out. And so boil for 8 minutes. I like my pasta al dente. And then this can go in there. So then the cheese, sometimes I buy like the shredded mozzarella, but I have been trying not to buy like pre-shredded cheeses because they're covered in like extra starches and stuff to keep them from sticking together. So I'm actually gonna slice this up like into maybe just like little slivers. I like can't really think of how to describe that, because the ricotta cheese is like a really soft cheese, and I usually just spread it with a fork. So you open it up and it looks like this, literally. But it's just like a really wet cheese. And so what I do is I like mix it up a little bit, and then I use the fork to like scoop it and spread it. And it does melt down a little bit, so good. So with my mozzarella, I think, while I'm waiting for the lasagna to boil, I want to be ready to like start my layers. So I'm gonna shred that up a little bit. You don't want your tomato sauce to burn. And get a cutting board so I can cut my cheese. Maybe I'll swap these so I can cut my cheese so you guys can see it. Okay. My husband and his shin knives. Loves them. That one's one of his favorites. Have to make sure I don't drop it. I'll tell him I said that. I haven't dropped that knife, but I have dropped one of his knives. Okay, so it just kind of comes out in this like big ball, mozzarella. And so I don't really know what I'm doing. Like I said, I usually get shredded cheese. So we're just gonna fake it till we make it. Okay. And again, you guys, not a chef, just a mother trying to feed 4 kids, 2 adults, and survive these crazy days where we just don't have time for anything. I really do prefer like sit-down meals with my kids, but on days like this, as long as everybody eats dinner, that's all that matters. So I just kind of chopped them up like little noodles of mozzarella cheese. Okay, my water is almost ready for the noodles now that I swapped it over. Okay. Okay, so when I put the noodles in, I kind of put them in like one noodle at a time. Again, I'm trying not to break them. I guess it really doesn't matter if I have broken noodles or not. So, this pot is big enough that they don't need to like cook a little and then be like forced down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, and then I'll put in like 2 more just for good measure, just in case we need them. Maybe 3 in case I have enough to do it later, and then if not, we have extras in case they do break. And so now all I have left is like really 3 pieces of pasta. I could make myself like a little lasagna soup or something. That would be nice. So I'll let that cook and then I'll move those around a little. I'm trying to finish chopping up my mozzarella here. I do just use the same utensil, like, doesn't matter for water, doesn't matter if my pasta sauce gets a little red, they're all gonna mix together anyway. I don't always do that, but for lasagna, no big deal. And I'm just trying to be gentle with those noodles. I don't want them to break. So, what, baby? What's going on? My little baby found me. She's so proud of herself because now she's crawling all over the whole house and going wherever she wants. Okay, so now my mozzarella looks like this. I'm going to swap this back over here. I forgot to start our timer for my noodles, so we'll just go with our heart, trust our gut. Hey, be careful with that. You're going to pull it down again. Okay, noodles are cooking. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the tomato sauce. I feel good about that. Where's that? Okay, I'm going to let those noodles cook for 10 seconds. I got to do some quick dishes to make space in the sink so I could drain them, and I'll see you in 2 seconds. Okay, so I just strained the noodles. I'm going to put the oven on 325, or 350 is fine. I always leave a little teeny tiny bit of water in the pan so that way the noodles stay wet and they don't just like stick to the pan or stick to the strainer or whatever you call that thing. And that way they're just easier to grab. They do stay like really hot though, obviously, so keep that in mind when you're reaching into that pan to grab them. So you could do one of two things. You could put like a little tiny layer of just sauce on the bottom. I typically don't do that because like the sauce like gets everywhere eventually, but it prevents like sticking on the bottom of the pan. So I might just do like, I don't know, like a tiny little bit. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in it. I'm perfectly fine. If the noodles stick a little bit, it doesn't really bother me a whole lot. It's fine. So now we're ready. My Parmesan is open. My ricotta is ready. And then my cheese is also ready. So I'm gonna grab lasagna. So I usually do 3 noodles across on this like pan. Okay, like I said, they stay like really hot, but I also don't have time to like wait for everything to cool down. So 3 noodles across, they're touching in here. Let's see, you can kind of see, just like that. That one's missing a chunk, so ignore him. Now, you can do your cheese on the noodles and then put sauce, or you could put sauce and then put cheese. I like to put sauce and then cheese. There's no right or wrong way to do this. That's the problem with stainless steel pans is that they get freaking hot and they stay hot forever. Okay. Cast irons cool down a little bit. So I always like kind of start in the middle here, do a little line, and then spread it out. I try to be a little frugal with my sauce. I'm not gonna lie to you guys because I want it to last for the layers. So we're just gonna spread this out a little bit and kind of go from there. And like I said, doesn't need to be perfect. Once everything starts heating up and like all the waters like release and stuff, it'll fill out. So I usually always do ricotta first, cheese, and just like kind of spread it, like plop it, spread it, plop it, spread it. And like the cheese can like fill in the spaces. And I don't worry about getting my fork dirty for the ricotta because I'll end up using this whole container. So you could double dip and make it dirty, it's fine. Ricotta, good. Now, I'm gonna take my mozzarella strips. I've never cut mozzarella like this before, so I'm just gonna try to don't need to be so frugal with my mozzarella because I think I have plenty and I love mozzarella. Okay, and then some Parmesan. Okay, just like that. So this is how my first layer looks. Now, more noodles. Okay, just like that. None of my noodles broke during the cooking process, which is very important to me anyway. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Good. And I might aim for like maybe a 3, maybe a 4 layer, just depending on how much sauce I have, because we did make enough noodles for that to be the case. But again, spread it out in down the middle, plop it in the middle, and then kind of spread it around. Okay. And to me, I feel like this is a relatively easy dinner. It is something that does need a little bit of planning though, because of the cook time on the, so the layers set like we talked about. So on this one I do try to like cover a little bit more, but like this whole thing of sauce is going to be in this container and it'll spread as it cooks. So again, ricotta cheese. My dad always used to make spaghetti lasagna when we were kids. And ricotta cheese is like kind of sweet too. I don't know, it's just really good. It's not a lasagna without it. Okay. Okay. And even just to spread it, it's like hardly, I don't even know if I would really call this like spreading it. I just like flatten it out a little bit. Mix it into the sauce some. If you hear that annoying like noise, I'm so sorry you guys. It's our AC is like really loud and really annoying. Okay. So more ricotta. We'll do a little bit more mozzarella. And this part also takes like a while. It's kind of annoying how long this takes too, but it's worth it. Okay, and Parmesan. Okay, now, okay, second layer. So depending on how much sauce and noodles you have, this could be like the end, because obviously the top still needs sauce and still needs cheese. But I think I have enough to do one more top. So let's put the sauce on. And I really don't care how pretty my lasagna looks on the top because we're here for flavor, not looks. And then depending on how watery your sauce is too, my oven's ready. I forgot to turn that on, so make sure you preheat your ovens before your lasagna is ready to go in there, especially when you're trying to get dinner done by a certain time. Okay, just gonna throw a little extra on here. Okay. All right, the last layer. This angle is so unflattering. All you can see is my double chin. But it is what it is. These are how my cooking videos are gonna look. Hopefully my double chin gets smaller instead of bigger throughout my life while we make these cooking videos. I wish I knew how to make the lens like wider, like back it up just a little bit, but I don't know how to do that. We're barely surviving knowing how to put in an SD card and charge the thing, so. Okay. I'm gonna have a little bit more mozzarella in this layer because we don't need too much for the top, but like nice and cheesy. I don't know how everybody likes their lasagna, but I like it like cheesy and full of flavor and delicious. Okay, Parmesan cheese. Okay. So this is going to be our last layer, so hot. My fork. Okay. Beautiful. So now this layer is obviously going to get all of the sauce. What's left? Gotta spread this out a little bit. It's kind of hard to spread. But I promise even those like little naked places are still going to look good when all is said and done here. Okay. So this is the top of my spaghetti. I keep having to call this spaghetti. Sorry, you guys. My lasagna. Top layer. And I do still put ricotta cheese on the top layer. I just love it. I might do like a little bit smaller splotches, kind of, and hope that it'll like melt in better with the other cheese. So I still do a healthy amount of it, just across the whole thing, That one's kind of connected. So I have like hardly any ricotta cheese left. I might save that for a second. So what I usually do is give myself a little treat after I finish. I'll show you guys in a second. Okay, throw what's left of my mozzarella on top. Okay, and then I finish up my Parmesan. Okay, now this is ready for the oven. Let me lick my hands. And cover this with foil. Okay, so it's 4:32, so that's how long it takes. I don't remember what time I started, like 3:40. Obviously, like layering the lasagna takes forever, but now I'm gonna cook it for like 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. For the last like 10 minutes or so, I'll take the foil off so the top can hopefully get like really bubbly and like maybe a little melty cheesy. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Yes, I am going to use like that frozen store-bought bread. It's so good. It's easy, and I know I say I make a lot of easy dinners, but sometimes that's all you can do. My kids really don't need to be eating 5-course Michelin star chef cooked meals day to day when we're just out here trying to survive. So I have a little bit of noodles left. So what I usually do is I'll get the noodle. Now that they've cooled down enough, I'm gonna rip myself like a little piece. I put some sauce on it, just like that. A little tiny bit of cheese. All I have left is my ricotta cheese. And then I have myself like a little mini lasagna roll while we wait for dinner to cook. So that's it, you guys. I will show you guys the lasagna when it's done. See you later.